This scene was animated in 1976. Well, not really, but it might as well have been. I'll explain. What if I told you this shot from Jujutsukaisen Season 2, drawn sometime in the second half of 2023, was animated in the exact same manner as a shot from, 1976 or whatever? What if I told you the year a piece of 2D animation is created in makes absolutely no difference whatsoever and has nothing to do with its quality? Well, I just did. 2D animation as a process does not age with time, it literally cannot. 2D animation today is created in the exact same manner as 2D animation from 50 or 100 years back. Meaning yes, those engagement bait posts you see on Twitter, the ones that go, "This incredible piece of animation was made in 1983, mean absolutely nothing. The method of creating 2D animation has remained the same since forever really. The method in question? This incredibly complex, technologically demanding process where an animator, stay with me here, grabs a pen and a piece of paper and draws. I know, mind-blowing. Jokes aside, while it's true that 2D animation doesn't age with time, it would be naive of me to completely disregard the role of time and technological advancements in anime production since they obviously have a role to play. Anime today looks different from anime from, say, the 90s, so obviously something changed. Anime isn't completely immune to Father Time. As such, here's a quick video about how the passage of time affects the production of 2D animation, about how some aspects of anime visuals age with time while others don't, and about how this aging works. Yes, in case you were wondering, I decided to make this video purely because I saw a couple of bizarrely worded posts on Twitter. I'm like one step away from becoming a drama channel. I'm on the edge. You don't want that, do you? You don't want me to turn into one of those folks? Well, you can prevent that by subscribing. How's that for a segue? Smooth as fucking butter. Press the subscribe button, please. You can also become a member of this channel, you know the drill by now. Exclusive videos, custom hand-drawn badges and emojis, shoutouts, cool stuff. Just go down there and press the join button. So let's start with the basics. Let's talk about the actual 2D animation component. The lines, the drawings, that stuff, and just to reiterate, 2D animation at a fundamental level does not age. The method of it has remained the same all throughout history. Of course, technology has made that process more efficient, more about that in a bit, but the actual method is still the same. The art form doesn't change. Unlike live action, which is dependent on technological factors like camera quality and the ability to build grand sets and elaborate camera rigs, all of those being factors that improve with time, 2D animation is entirely reliant on the human hand. The animator is the equipment. Paper and pencils have been around for centuries, and digital animation simply makes their use more convenient. The actual technology involved in 2D animation is the human hand and mind, nothing else. As long as the human body remains the same and doesn't undergo some freakish evolutionary event where everyone grows a second thumb, 2D animation should remain the same, fundamentally speaking. Animators hand drew frames back in 1980, animators hand draw frames today. It's the same. But what about digital animation, you may ask? Is it really that much of a non-factor? Well, digital workflows have made the process of animation more convenient and streamlined, no doubt about it. The ability to undo incorrect lines without having to manually erase anything, being able to divide each shot into layers and manipulate each layer as its own isolated entity, being able to play back a sequence whenever you want without having to physically pick up a stack of papers and manually flipping through the pages, a practice that can f up your neck. It's a game changer, no doubt about it. There's a reason why more and more veterans switch to digital animation with every passing day. It really is convenient, all of that's true, yes, but the one thing digital animation cannot do is reduce the amount of skill needed to animate. Whether you're drawing on paper or an iPad, you still need to be, good. Look at this incredibly complex frame. Drawing this requires a certain amount of skill, obviously, and the amount of it doesn't change with time. An animator from the 80s would require the exact same level of skill to draw this as an animator today. Clip Studio can't draw your lines, it can't imagine a composition for you. All it can do is make the action of drawing lines more convenient. Yes, you can use CSP's line smoothing feature all you want, but the lines themselves still need to be drawn by you. Animation doesn't change. Art styles and animation techniques do. The general look of an anime character continues to evolve with time, but the actual process of 2D animation remains the same, it doesn't change. What does change, however, is everything else, CGI for example. Unlike 2D animation, CGI is dependent on technology. In fact, it is technology. 3D animation requires processing power, something that improves with time. The stronger the computer is, the stronger the computer-generated image, aka CGI, is. The amount of detail that can be integrated into a 3D model, the scale of it, the quality and accuracy of 3D simulations, the rigging complexity, all of these aspects depend on processing power, a direct result of technological advancement. Ironically enough, when it comes to animation, computers have their limits, but paper doesn't. I'm sure CGI will eventually reach a stagnation point where technological advancement will no longer have a role to play in its quality, but for now, especially when it comes to anime, CGI is a component that improves with time. 3D animation, however, isn't that significant in the grand scheme of things. It is used a lot in anime, yes, but it's not a mandatory component. Stuff like color and compositing, however, are mandatory, and coincidentally, they are also the components affected the most by time. Let's start with color use. Back in the day, the coloring process was extremely time-consuming and tedious. Back then, they'd take the final drawing, aka the in-between frame or the doga, place a transparent celluloid sheet on top of it, trace the outlines with ink, flip the celluloid sheet over, and manually paint over the drawing with acrylic colors. That's where the term cell animation comes from. This colored cell would then be passed on to the photography department, again extremely time-consuming. In the modern age, however, one can simply create a digital drawing and fill in the colors with a click of a mouse via a software like Reta Studio, the go-to in anime production. Not only does this make the coloring process a lot quicker, it allows for more ambitious color use, such as the use of gradients and more intricate color placement. It also makes the color profile of a show more consistent from front to back. It's so convenient that once the process of digital coloring started sometime in the early 2000s, practically every studio immediately adopted it. Although it did take them a while to fully figure this stuff out, some still haven't. And that brings us to the department that has changed the most with time, so much so that the modern version of it might as well be its own thing. This is also the department/aspect of anime production mainly responsible for that bright, vibrant look associated with modern anime, for better or worse. This department, of course, is compositing. What is compositing, some of you may ask? Well, it's the process of bringing the various visual components, the 2D animation layers, the backgrounds, the 3D, etc. together. And just like the coloring process, compositing has changed massively over the years. Back in the day, they would take the aforementioned colored celluloid sheets from the color department, physically superimpose them onto a hand-painted background as needed within an animation stand with a built-in camera, and then take an actual picture of the whole thing to make a finished frame. They would then repeat this process over and over again to create what we call animation. That's where the term photography comes from. That's why the lead compositing artist is called the director of photography, because back in the day, compositing involved actual photographs. The process has changed completely, but the term has stuck around. These days, compositing is done by importing every component, be it the cell or the background, onto a software like Adobe After Effects and adjusting stuff digitally. And this has opened the door to a wide range of possibilities. While compositing artists from back in the day used a few nifty tricks to add to the animation, modern compositing can completely transform the screen. Depth of field, motion blur, bloom, backlighting, rim lighting, addition of highlights, digital effects, texturing, line processing, color correction, the list goes on. If used well, there are very few things modern compositing cannot accomplish, much to the dismay of drawing supremacists out there. It's pretty much the reason why modern shows have that shiny look that older shows don't. The problem, however, is that compositing is rarely used well. The modern version of this department is still in its formative years, in my opinion, and between that and most modern shows being strapped for time to the point where processes like compositing that come after 2D animation are often neglected, you rarely see impressive displays of photography in anime. Most modern shows end up looking inoffensive at best, while some end up getting kneecapped by the same. There are bright spots, of course. Like I said, compositing, when used with intent, can significantly enhance a scene. Just look at everything Studio Ufotable has produced post K&K, that one fight from Fire Force, or DOP Kentaro Waki's works. There are projects that utilize this aspect well, but as a whole, I think there's room for improvement. And that's how anime ages. 2D animation doesn't, 3D animation does. Coloring underwent a dramatic shift in the early 2000s, and compositing is pretty much a completely different thing now than what it was a few decades back. That's it. This is just a random topic I wanted to cover. I hope you learned something. Make sure to like and subscribe. A special thanks to Nude03, Pawel, and Amir for becoming tier 3 members, and until next time.